I'm Robert Egginton, I'm the Director of the Dumbartung Aboriginal Corporation, and I've been working out here at Dumbartung for 28 years. The organisation first started off in the old dormitory buildings. We're upstairs of that building, and it was very bare when we first started here at Clontarf. It was basically the remnants of the old orphanage, and over a long period of time we built up the resources of Dumbartung, and I think I was probably here for 20 years or so before Selena started here with the Kumara Women's Healing Program. So we've been on this journey in relationship to Dumbartung and its work for over 28 years.
My name is Selena Egginton. I've been here at Dumbartung for 10 years now, and I originally came here as a project coordinator for the Women's Healing Program, which was the Kumara Women's Healing Program, and that program was based on initiating healing projects and cultural art projects for women who were traumatised through various traumas and abuse, and the original idea came through the Sue Gordon inquiry, because we were concerned about women who weren't accessing mainstream agencies in terms of their counselling. So we wanted to create a space where women can come together, and that was culturally appropriate, but also have a sense of belonging to that particular area.
Well, I think the priority for Dumbartung is to continue to survive under whatever conditions and challenges we face as a organisation. Our maxim, in which we stated some 24 years ago, was to keep our campfires burning forever. And in that maxim laid the reality, obviously, of the challenges in which an organisation like Dumbartung faced back then and still continues to face to this day. And I think that, when you look at that endurance and you look at that history of Dumbartung, it can't be lost because of money and the financial assistance that's required from government. And I suppose that it's going to come down in our circumstances here to people and the need of Dumbartung to continue as an organisation through the support in which people will afford it. And if you look at issues dealing with our rental agreements with the landlords, the Indigenous Land Corporation, we're only talking about $12,000 a year. If you look at the wealth in which is generated through this state in terms of mining and agriculture, you look at Western Australia being obviously one of the richest states in this country, and Australia as a country being one of the richest and most affluent countries in the world, to see the real value of culture and spirituality of the oldest living culture on the most ancient landmass on the face of the earth. An organisation like Dumbartung doing it in a proper way, it's an absolute scandal that we should even be having to pursue 80% of our time just to generate funding to keep an organisation like Dumbartung alive. Dumbartung's track history in terms of what we've accomplished to date really should speak for itself, and it should be a privilege in reference to what we represent for the governments to fund Dumbartung. There's no question really about that, but at the moment we're under this siege, if you like, and attacked by government, and that's what it is because of the what Dumbartung represents in terms of our politics and and our history. There's a wealth of experience here that needs to be nurtured and maintained for future generations. It's the hope in terms of, again, what Selena expressed in being able to change the lives of people. This is an organisation that has changed many lives and has saved lives in the past. There's testimonies here from our people and even from non-Aboriginal people in reference to what they've got out of Dumbartung. But to our people, it's it's about re-strengthening their lives, and to obviously, as part of that re-strengthening of our people's lives, to save lives.
I think what would mean to me, well, it certainly would be hope, and also I guess a lot of belief in what we're doing as a organisation, and that we can continue working in the community and working with people that are facing those insurmountable challenges, and we can, work with those people. We have families coming here almost on a daily basis with massive issues, and it just means that we can continue working in our community with our people and bringing hope to those families and talking about the issues and creating an awareness within those families of the impact of what colonisation has had on Aboriginal people. And if we can look at those issues and go back and trace those traumas and where they came from, I think that enables Aboriginal people just to have a more empowered way of dealing with those issues and trying to work towards a common, solution or becoming stronger within themselves to deal with those issues and bring encouragement to their families and particularly their young people, and creating that really strong cultural foundation within the community.
But when you're like Dumbartung and you run a cultural centre that's been established for the healing process and is established in regards of not only archiving and maintaining our history, but more importantly interpreting that history in a way in which has got the values of the very things that we've spoken about here in relationship to the worth of people's lives and how they perceive their own worth as an Aboriginal person, well, you're going to be under attack by the government because of course it doesn't fall within their criteria of what a cultural centre should be like and the control of that cultural centre under the perimeters of their industry policy, such as those policies that govern the criteria for that funding through either the Ministry of Culture and the Arts, the Australia Council, or the Prime Minister and Cabinet's office. That's the Arts Office. So they're the sorts of dilemmas in which Dumbartung faces, because where we want to develop this concept in terms of the future is to even broaden it from the sort of gallery it is at the moment into setting up bastions that actually look at the genocide history and the issues dealing with the colonial process of this country, so that truth can be again derived and can be shared between all people. And if you look around the world now, you can see bastions that are set up in places like South Africa and in Europe, which specifically look at the apartheid history of South Africa, and that's the sort of history in which the governments there have had the courage to obviously promote through their institutions. If you look at different parts of Europe, and in particular here in Sydney and Melbourne, you've got facilities and institutions that look at the experience and the history of the Holocaust. And also in America and different parts of Europe, you've got institutions that also look at, creating an awareness about the slavery policies and the slavery from Africa into the Americas. So we're wanting to strive through Dumbartung here to create bastions of the same truths in terms of what's happened here to Aboriginal people, and set up for the very first time the bastions of genocide. And what we want to do is try to attract the necessary funding and resources to be able to do that, and to be able to build shrines and tributes again to the stolen generations and issues dealing with the Native Welfare Act, and bring about a sense of knowledge and a sense of understanding about the very issues in which Aboriginal people face today as a result of that whole evolution of history. And I think then we can start to build better and stronger relationships through that understanding between Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal people. And I think we need to find the courage, and we need to try to involve the structures of funding and the policies to be able to accept that's what Aboriginal people want to share, obviously, with the rest of the world. Because here in Australia you've got an intentional secret country that through the media, through the education systems, that truth is deliberately kept from the mainstream populations. Again, as Selena said, you don't hear about the history per se in terms of its truth through the education systems. You certainly don't hear it through the media or the political influences. And it's a shame, because if you look at the knowledge and the experience people have got in understanding the relationships of what's happened to Aboriginal people, well, they're understood far greater in other parts of the world than what they are in this country itself. So I think that we've got a need to pursue those sorts of idealisms.
Thank you.